Hey, everybody. Earlier today, I received an email from Greg McConnell, who was at one point the executive director of the Oakland Jobs and Housing Coalition and a long time head president of the McConnell Group, who had a study done of 400 Oaklanders. And he released the results of that survey approximately 6 hours ago. I texted and invited him on to the program to discuss the results of his findings, but I haven't gotten a response back from him, and so I rather an email, but I didn't get a response back from him. So I wrote at 1:03 Eastern time. Hello, got survey setting up live stream. When can we talk, Zenny? Right here. Okay. So tried to get a hold of him, but nonetheless, the show must go on. At any rate, the letter that he wrote is presented uh, as I'm about and while it's doing that, there's the McConnell Group, and there I am. Okay, while it's doing that, and it's done in that, I will read the document that is before us. And it goes like this: crime is overwhelmingly Oakland's top concern. A September 14th to 18th dominates Oakland's voters' concerns. 83% of the respondents rank public safety and crime as their number one issue, and 92% want their leaders to focus on 723 officers to 1,000. How about 2,000? At any rate, 74% of Oakland voters say things in Oakland are going in the wrong direction. Similarly, 74% believe the quality of life in Oakland has gotten worse. The majority of Oakland voters, disapprove of the performance, disapprove of the way Mayor Thao is doing her job, while only 29% approve. 66% disapprove of the way the city council, while only 17% approve. The survey revealed that Oakland voters want to see more jobs and job training, in addition to more cops and a greater focus on public safety. 69% think it's critical to very important to create blue collar jobs in industrial and logistics sectors. 60% say that it is critical to very important to create jobs that do not require college degrees. Only 37% feel that creating jobs in tech are critical and very important. I want to point out something too. Way back in 1996, when I worked for Ellie Harris as economic advisor, Alameda County Supervisor Keith Carson and other elected officials pushed for biotech jobs, even as it was brought to their attention that these jobs would not necessarily employ Oaklanders. I say that because I'm a person who brought that up to Supervisor Carson in a meeting on the jobs housing balance that was attended by Soon Wright McPeak, who was a public official at the time, was pushing for jobs and housing balance legislation. The idea basically is that your jobs should be where your housing is. And yet my point was, hey, look, you can't bring up that you want biotech in if we don't have people who can take those jobs. So in effect, you're working outside the jobs housing balance, because for those people in Oakland who can't get those jobs, there's no jobs, even though the housing is there. Would you believe that he and Sunright Repeat looked at me like I was growing antlers out of my head? That was 1996. So my point is the seeds of where we are today started that long ago. All right. About the survey. The survey was commissioned by the McConnell Group. It was conducted by RG Strategies, which is affiliated with Binder Research, one of the most highly regarded research companies in the country. It was comprised on 400 likely voters randomly selected. This reads 65% of the respondents identified themselves as progressive, 35%, or liberals, 30%. 21% identified themselves as moderates, and 7%, or only 7%, called themselves conservative. So there you are. And then it's, of course, about the McConnell Group. And uh, says the McConnell Group is a consulting firm specializing in Oakland economic development. In 2006, the McConnell Group co-founded the Jobs and Housing Coalition, which is comprised of major developers and employers dedicated to growing Oakland. Until then, Oakland always had been described as a city with potential. We wanted to make it thrive, and we succeeded. Between 2006 and 2021, we grew Oakland's population by 40,139 people. During that period, our developers built nearly 18,000 housing units to accommodate existing and new residents in Oakland. Large businesses filled Oakland's office spaces. Restaurants sprung up, and Oakland developed a reputation as an upcoming foodie and tourist destination. Unfortunately, that has changed. Today, many office buildings are half empty. New development of residential housing is stalled. Restaurants are shuttered, and small businesses have been forced to close. Oakland's population is declining by 1.3% per year. But all is not lost. Resilient people work and live in Oakland. They are committed to making Oakland a place where residents from the flatlands to the hills and the east to the west live in peace with clean and safe streets where businesses small and large can thrive. The McConnell Group releases the survey with hope that it will shock the system and bring about change. So that's um, that is the news there. And Don, thanks for the Donna King was saying the sound kept cutting out initially. Thanks for that. And he says it's better now. Awesome. Thank you. Uh, now, let's take a look at there's actually another part of this that Greg sent out. And I want to make absolutely certain before I close that you see this. And I'm going to put it on another post at zenny.report.com. This one's going to the other blogs, other sites we have, zenny62blog.com, Oakland News Now blog.com, so on. But what he put out here, let me go and get this, is there's the survey. And then he's got results page that if it will down, it'll open a value to our internet. What it wow, sorry about that, folks. Looks like we had a technical difficulty. Let me get rid of them. and keep that. Uh, and keep going. That's true. It's yeah. Okay. So at any rate, we're back. All right. Sorry about that, folks. Weird internet reaction here. Is the survey data? These are the results right here, and I'm going to enlarge them. So look at what they early. Enlarge this. There it is. And better there. Back here, and much better. Okay. All right. So there we are. Okay. So as I was saying, I'm going to just make some other changes here. That should theoretically help here, and they are. My theory is correct. And then we'll have at it yet again. Okay. Here. Is the final results. Now, well, let's see if that free up things. And waiting for this to come in. Yeah, there we are. All right. So as I was saying, so I'll close that. All right. Now, atmosphere. This is what they asked. Are you employed by as a news reporter, elected official, staff to elected official? 100% said no. Do you feel things in Oakland are generally going in the right direction or things are off on track? And 74%, you can read here, said wrong track. And would you say the overall quality of life in Oakland has become better or worse? 74% said worse. Only 6% said better. um, and then as you can see, out of the major issues, crime was 83% is the major issue, followed by homelessness and panhandling. And then, of course, affordable housing and cost of rents and the cost of living. Non-police was number 5, uh, coming in at 8% there. So at 8 rather. And so and we have illegal dumping and trash in the streets, and then other, and then 2 in terms of the respondents out of 100. This is out of 100. Okay. So 83% out of 100 said, you know, crime and public safety. Now, favorability. This is the names of public figures. And here is Mayor Sheng Thao. So this is where she scores out. The summary is that it says that her unfavorables are at 52%, where favorable is 27%. Interestingly, Greg said it was 27%, or excuse me, 57%. So I'm wondering where that 5% discrepancy is accounted for, because I originally put 52%, but it says 57%. So I'm wondering, I invited Greg to come on so I could really address that somewhat minor issue. But I haven't heard back from him. I'm gonna give him a call. Followed by Councilmember Rebecca Kaplan, who is favorable at 32, but unfavorable 30. And there are people who strongly unfavorably view her 16, somewhat 15. Most have no opinion at 20, heard of but no opinion. 17 have not heard of her at all. In other words, there are people who 20 have heard of her, but they have no opinion about her. Okay. Whereas that's less true, of course, for the mayor. Now, we go down to Councilmember Dan Cow, who's running for Senate. And what we find is that for the council member, for Dan Cow, okay, it reads that he has in total 21 favorable versus 18 unfavorable, but 37 have not heard of him. 23% have heard of him and have no opinion. There are 9% who strongly do not favor him. 9% who strongly favor him, whereas 15% who somewhat favor him. So he's got to get his recognition up, particularly for Senate. Councilmember Nikki Bass is in roughly the same shape as Dan, a little bit less when it comes to favorable, 17 over 19. That's close. However, 43% have not even heard of her. 21% have heard of her, had no opinion. Of the unfavorables, 9 strongly believe she's unfavorable, 10% somewhat favorable, somewhat favorable, 15%. Excuse me, 10%. I'm reading that wrong. 10%, 7% strongly. Now read that again. 7% strongly, and then unfavorable, somewhat 10%, strong percent. Or 3% have not even 44% have not even heard of Carol Fife at all. 20% have heard of her but have no opinion. 10% of them have strongly unfavorable views of her versus 8%. 8% view her somewhat favorable, okay? Where 10% view her strongly favorable, which is actually the best of all the council members. John and Janani Drawn, 51%, 16% what? Unfavorable 7, um, somewhat unfavorable 10, somewhat favorable 11, and strongly 5. Councilmember Nogayo, 7% strongly favor, 15 somewhat, 7% unfavorable, 11 somewhat, but 43% have no opinion about him. 17% have heard of him but have no opinion. His favorable overall is slightly ahead of his unfavorable, 22 to 18. Johnny, it's her favorable is 16, but unfavorable 17. Councilmember 5 is even. Uh, Kevin Jenkins, the other newcomer in District 6, he has 12% favorable, but 11% unfavorable. 54% haven't heard of him at all. 23% have heard of him and have no opinion. 6% strongly unfavorable. 5% somewhat. Then favorable 8%, somewhat favorable. And then 4%, the lowest of all council members, view him strongly favorable. Councilmember Trevor Reed, who ran for mayor, 21% favorable versus 14% unfavorable. The best margin of anyone writing at this point in reading this. She has Now, 40% have 24% have an opinion. Unfavorable, only 5%. That 9% somewhat unfavorable, but favorable somewhat 16% versus strongly 5%. So she's, doing okay, all things considered. Now, Pamela Price eh, ranks with Mayor Tao, 48% unfavorable, 28% uh, favorable. And of course, not only 10% have not heard of her, and only 10%. And then only 14% have heard of her but have no opinion, which means that she's strongly thought of. And for the most part, it's negative, with 33% strongly unfavorable and 15% somewhat versus somewhat at 11% strongly. So she's, and then we have uh, people selected, for example, Lerone is unfavorable. 2% have never heard of him. 17% have but have no opinion. 17% unfavorable. I'm sorry, unfavorable 2%, favorable 14% somewhat. Of favorable 7 are somewhat favorable. And then for some reason, Andy Campbell Washington's in this. Maybe she's contemplating another run, but she's even. I've never heard. And fair, even at, well, her unfavorables are at 12, favorables, which are 10. And of measures, uh, the vast majority, 3%. Well, and that's full gospel. 52% haven't heard of him. And then Carl Chan, 61% haven't heard of Carl at all. I wonder why he chose to include these folks. And so overall, here's where the 57 comes in. Overall, what they did was they took the approved somewhat plus the approved strongly, okay? And that comes out at 27%. And then disapprove somewhat, disapprove strongly, and added those, and that comes at 57, hence the 57%. So there we go. And overall, do you approve or disapprove of the way the Oakland City Council is handling its job? 66% no, 17% basically yes. Overall, do you approve or disapprove of the job Pamela Price is doing as district attorney? 51% no, basically. 20, yes. Words for approval else to replace, it should say Shang. Uh, um, it misspelled, it's got Tao, it spells it as Shao Tang. Oh no, what a little faux pas here. Mayor Tao Tang. Oh my goodness. Tao. Uh wow. At any rate, 23% would reelect her, 56% call for replacement. DA, roughly the same percentage. 27% reelect, percent replace. Now, in 2024, five city councils be up for election. If Mayor Sheng Thao were to endorse a candidate for city council, would her endorsement more likely is somewhat likely to much less likely, somewhat less like much less likely vote for that person? Forget, right? That's what that says. Um, Republic, each priority is to blue collar 69, make housing more affordable 84, reducing homeless 92. This is on 100 scale. Promoting businesses that do not college 60, attracting tech 37, promoting commercial and residential development in Oakland 60, declaring a public state of emergency, and seeking assistance from the federal, state, and county governments 60%. And the attitudes on very concerned. 15% who are somewhat concerned. And that crime in Oakland is getting better. 2% getting 80%, staying the same 14%, don't know 14. And it says if getting worse, here are some reasons that people say are causing crime worse. Weak enforcement and lack of prosecution. Identify criminal in the Oregon lack of funding and services for mental health and turning to crime 19. $8,000 car thefts in 2023, so a gigantic double what it was 4 years ago, and well over the 5,000 that it was the previous year. How do you personally feel about crime like car break-ins? Most people, 80%, say they are either somewhat unsafe or very unsafe. And how safe do you feel personally from violent crime? Very safe, somewhat, or 64% say either somewhat safe or very solutions. So you want more police, 92% more resources in the youth and skill centers, sources better consequences to their conduct. And officers in the Oakland Police Department from 723,000. Of course, most strongly support, somewhat support that effort. 21% oppose it in total. Individual impacts. Have you or a member of your family been a victim of crime in the last few years? A whopping 62% said yes, versus 32% no, and 6% said to, not to say. 55% have considered moving out of Oakland because of crime. 43% said no, which gives us hope. Does crime cause you to shop in Oakland more or less? 3%, 48% less, 47% said has crime caused you to rest more, less, or made no difference? 3% said more, 47% said made no difference. This is even. 10 under 35, 22% between 35 and 16% between 45 and 54, 14% between 55 Native American, 2% Middle Eastern or North African. A combination of these are 3%, 1% something else, and 4% preferred not to say. AAPI, 7% Chinese, 7% Filipino, 9% Vietnamese, 4% Japanese, 16% Korean, 2% South Asian, 4% Southeast Asian, 5% Pacific Islander, 7% other, and 0 preferred not to say. Now, educational background, 8% high school degree or less, 21% some college, 3% technical or vocational school, 30% 33% postgraduate degree, and 2% for say, 35% concerned, and 5 don't know. 7 children living at home under the age of 18, 22% do. 1,000 to 50,000, another 8%, 50,000 under 75,000, 19%, 75,000 under 100,000, 15, 100,000 and just 150,000, 16%, 150,000 and just $150,000, 13%, $250,000 or more, 13%, 3 no, 5% prefer not to say. 4% is for female, 46% male, other 0. 73% Democrat, 4% Republican, 15% no party preference, or 7% minor party. So that lays out the results of the survey that the McConnell Group conducted. And as R.D. Moss just asked, is she all sizzle and no steak? I would say it's worse than that. The problem isn't a matter of sizzle or steak. The problem is a lack of understanding how to make government work separate from ideology. And there's too much ideology and no respect for or understanding of the government process. Uh, this is a problem not just in Oakland. It's a problem in California. It's a problem in the country. It's what got us Donald Trump. It's what got us the Capitol riots. There is overall throughout the country an attack on the process of government by people who don't understand it and um, who don't understand that process. And so want to basically say, hey, I don't get it. And so therefore, it doesn't apply to me. And this doesn't, speak to my concerns or anything. Um, and so I am sorry about any ins and outs that may be causing. Let me give a listen to this myself and see what is coming in, because if that's
If you have joint pain or arthritis,
well,
here's
there's an
why you
ad.
shouldn't
Hold on a
visit
second.
a doctor or a chiropractor. Don't get me joint pain or arthritis.
Well,
Here's
there's an
why you
ad.
shouldn't
Hold on a
visit
second. I hear
a
it clearly.
doctor or a chiropractor. Don't get me joint pain or arthritis.
Well, there's an ad.
Shouldn't.
I hear it clearly. So I just listened. So I've heard it clearly here.
I hear it clearly.
Yeah.
So I just listened. So
I hear it clearly. I don't know why. I think when I go home here, this is not coming up as on. Yeah, now it's there. Okay. Live. Okay. So it might have been cutting out in and out for a period, but it's not. Um, Thank you for letting me know. I can monitor it here and find out what the real deal is, right? Um, there is the real deal. So, in fact, let me keep listening to it.
letting me know I can monitor it here and find out what the real deal is.
Yeah,
Right.
it comes in consistently clear for me. So there you go. All right. So at any rate, uh, sizzling steak. I I don't think that's the problem. The problem is, for example, the mayor not being accountable. The mayor has to understand that we have a strong mayor system. First vision in through by and Oakland attorney Richard Winning. And the idea was that Oaklanders felt that their mayor should have more power. The first go at the strong mayor system, Measure F, Elihu Harris's plan, was voted down. But Jerry Brown, well, Jerry Brown, that's how we got Measure X and the strong mayor we have today. Okay. So there's my point is there's always been a call for a strong mayor system. But what we forgot along the way was process. And this has become a more acute problem over the years. How we do things in a city that created, among other things, the financial tool called the sale leaseback, Oakland, 1983, if memory serves. So now we're not known as a government that knows how. We're known as a government that doesn't know how. And we should be very concerned about that. We should be concerned that our government is not acting in the best traditions that Oakland itself is. So we should be very concerned that Oakland isn't operating at its optimum level of performance. That should be our biggest concern. Okay, folks, thanks for watching and listening. For those who find this cutting in and out, I apologize for choosing a different venue to do this, and I won't do that again. I'll go back upstairs to my office. There's a reason I do the office, right? But I'm going to talk about this again and actually present this survey again, so that we can have another discussion about it, but then with guests. Hopefully Greg McConnell will join me and we can discuss this in full. All right. Thank you so much. Subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube, and please like and subscribe this video. That ends the stream.